I saw how it was difficult because it's like I didn't want to stop. Like for one side, I was thinking, okay, I need to stop, and then no, but it's like two. Yes, it's like two parts. One that keeps reminding me that you need to stop, and the other that it's postponing all the time. And I don't know. It's like almost like
This.
I don't want to do this.
Okay. The one who doesn't want to do it, you don't pay attention to. The one who is the voice that says, I'm going to stop now, you pay attention to it. Because that voice is the one that questions the mind. That voice investigates if the mind is real. That voice questions if the thoughts are you. And then when there is no thought, you remain. So there's not the voice that avoids and not the voice that says, now I have to stop. Both are gone. And you start to know and recognize that this is who you are. That's good because this gives you a glimpse that you awaken this determination and be gentle with the mind. Means, okay, it's avoiding, I see it. I was determined to stop for 6 times a day, and I stopped 1 time, 2 times, 5 times. I don't dwell on it. I don't judge myself, neither being guilty about it. Means I just focus and start again. Because if I judge or being guilty about it, that's the same mind that you're out of habit tend to believe that it's you, that you're the judging mind, that you're the one that is not okay, that you're the one who is feeling this guilt, all these ideas. You just watch it or ignore it, and then you start again. Okay, I start again tomorrow, I start again later, it doesn't matter, until you bring the mind into, the word is almost obedience, like a dog. You bring it to listen, you train it. Okay, that voice, I don't care. I hear what you say later, and the voice says sit now. Okay, so I sit now. And that is really key, because if you still, anybody, it's not personal, is still interested in the thoughts, that means they listen to it. There's nothing really interesting in the thought process. If you watch carefully, nothing of an interest really is going on. It's all imaginary, either about past memories, stories, reactivity, or imagine something, fantasy. None of it really satisfied the mind ever. So it remains restless. So there's no interest there. Interesting is to question it. And question it by approaching it in different ways, that your attention inwardly shifts in. So you see. The illusion is revealed. You see, even if you do not experience your true self in that moment, at least you can see the illusion about the thoughts. At least you see that a moment before you examined, you were identifying like it was you. Like you were the voice in the head. Like you were these images that appeared. It enables you to see, wow, okay, I haven't even paid attention to what thoughts appeared. It just ran me automatically. I was just a puppet of it, like a slave of it. It ran me. And it's a ghost. I better take a look at this ghost, because I'm not a ghost. I'm not going to be run by a ghost. I am the source prior to that image, prior to that I thought, which thinks it is the thinker, means it thinks that it is thinking the thoughts, and the thoughts are the one who is thinking. Yeah? The moment I think I'm the thinker, my thoughts are mine. That's what the I thought does. So this is really good lesson to be more kind and gentle, how to approach working with the thoughts. You can't fight with them because they appear and disappear. So when you fight it, it's gone, and then it reacts. And
Okay.
how, like, how earnest, or the word is the seriousness inside you is what determine for the mind to start awakening from the dream that it created and questioning itself to return to that which is prior to thought, to yourself. Without this earnestness, even if one has a yearning and an urge to be liberated, that urge is nice, yet if it's not going to be activated by effort, effort means when the mind is active, questioning it, discriminate it. If there is practices that the mind is reacting to it, I want to watch the mind reacting. I want to check, what is it? Is it me reacting? Am I the one who is reacting? Where does this reactivity appear? Does it really affect who I am? Does it ever touch awareness? Does reactivity really affect me? Am I ever reactive? Or I am the background of awareness that is everlasting presence? This gotta be of an interest, means there gotta be a fascination about knowing who you are. Not because you have to, because you want to. You understand the urgency about it. You understand that there is no way out if you keep dreaming this dream, which you're not even the dreamer nor the dream. That's what's so amazing. Who you are is thought free. It never had a thought, even not a single thought, for eternity. So how did I forget who I am? And I begin thinking that I am a thought, that I am a separate entity, that I am just a physical body. How did I reduce myself to such a tiny capsule when I'm so vast? No boundaries, no beginning, no end. So this has to awaken, and this is why in Vashista and all the wise they point how important it is. And last time we stopped and I said I'm going to read something, and that's Maybe it's in Spanish too. It's a book called Final Talks, and it's by this man. He was for many years with Ramana, and that's his last 6 months of his life. That people asking questions, and he give answers, and he's very sincere. No fluff, no trying to speak what people want to hear. He's just sharing from his experience and pointing what it requires. And so let's see. He's pointing self-inquiry must be done continuously. It doesn't work if you regard it as a part-time activity. You may be doing something that doesn't hold your interest or attention. So you think, I will do some self-inquiry instead. This is never going to work. You may go 2 steps forward when you practice, but you go 5 steps backward when you stop your practice and go back to your worldly affairs. You must have a lifelong commitment to establish yourself in the self. Your determination to succeed must be strong and firm, and it should manifest as continuous, not part-time effort. Let's take a look at this. You want that we open this for a moment and we see, we'll bring it into one's experience so they can see it inside. It's not going to be just words of somebody else from an outside. Self-inquiry must be done continuously. If it's not continuous, when the thought appears, there's the notion that I am the one, or I am a separate entity. Yeah, the first thought, I. The moment that I appears, then there is a movement out. I want, I desire. Because I desire to rest in awareness. Yet I do not know awareness. So the moment that I appears, because it is the one that forgot, and it can never know awareness, it is looking for something it can never know. Yet because it came from that awareness, it has that yearning, that self, the yearning to know or return back to you. Yes? This I thought is not you. So the moment that I appears, if it's not examined or noticed in that moment, it right away out of habit evolves. Means there's I and there's afterwards my thoughts, my ideas, my desires, my needs, my tasks, my life. This is what I need to do. This is what I need to accomplish. I have to get somewhere. Yes? So this I has to rest in awareness. When awareness is shined through, then the I, when it appears, it's noticed right away to be not you. And it burns, it dissolves, because you are resting or you experience the knowingness of who you are. And the thought is obviously not you. So it has no power. It dissolves and it doesn't evolve. Okay? Majority of us, our mind is very active. Means rajasic, activity of the mind. That's already projections. I don't even notice that the I thought, which is the primary thought that believes that it is the thinker, that is thinking the thoughts, So when there's the my thoughts, it's already projections. I have to question the projections, go more inward in the direction, and then question that separate entity which appears to exist, yet once I examine it, I come to realize it is non-existent. The only self-existence is who I am, and it's not a thought. Yes? Anything you like to share or questions regarding that? It doesn't work. Yes, please.
Yes. este, it's definitely it's true because, for example, when the last year we was always in the subject and really do the work or want to do the work. But we passed the year, all the year, no, after the last time to see you, and with the time you start to do less, no, the work and start to be more in the dream. No, like before when you don't know nothing about the knowledge, but you know the knowledge, you want to do the work, but when you are not all the time in the doing the work and to be concerned about all this knowledge, you start to go to the dream. For example, the last week, when we do the first phone calls, I really excited about we are see you again, and we start to put really deep in the work. But the mind start to say yes, we see and we can stop 2-3 times. I don't know. It's like I really want, but the mind really won't, and do all the process for no after and no not today and like all no like Elisa told before and like all do the same, but in the middle I say like wow, you want to you always want that. You have the real opportunity to see Alon more times and ask how see the work and how you can do the work. You put the in work that, no? But it's like two both in the mind, like no after that, and in other one is no now, because this is the time. It's not more time. It's now. It's now. You need to stop. You need to stop. It's really wow, because I think I really want, but the truth is always I have the other side in the mind to say after, or yes, you do good, you can do tomorrow. No, it's you need to stay all the time in the process. You need to really want to stay in the software. So
Is why you can see from experience now how rare it is. And even if someone wants to wake up from the dream and then the mind really dissolving into awareness, what it takes, except it's enough that one person on the planet ever was able to bring the mind to rest into awareness. That means that if you are determined, if you are serious, if you're going to put it into use and follow the principle, which is the knowledge, the instructions and apply it, it happens. It happens. It just, how, this is why Nazir Gadata talks about how serious are you. It's the seriousness that will give you the fruit of resting as awareness permanently. No other thing. It's like you can want and you can understand and you can speak and already see all the subtleties. That's very nice. That's not enough. And each one can see it for themselves. This brings maturity. This brings respect within you, what requires from you. It's like to mature and grow up so you can really be serious. That's all regarding it. No postponement, no later, no matter what is the challenge, you face it, you continue, you start to walk, you fall, you get up, you start again. You don't care. You don't, just like a child, when they learn to walk, they don't give up until they succeed. And that's what it takes.
Yes, because for example, always I always are present for me the knowledge. I'm talk about the knowledge a lot. Maybe I don't speak another thing to know is not the knowledge with other people to know me, but it's not the same because you are okay. Always think about the knowledge. Always think about the I am not the thoughts. Always, always, all my life is really about that. But it's not enough. It's not enough because I see now how when you are determined, for example, for a stop 9 times a day, you say, wow, wow, I am all the day in this, really, because I can think about, I can talk about, but it's not the same.
So we continue. Self-inquiry must be done continuously. It doesn't work if you regard it as a part-time activity. Because if you regard it as a part-time activity, which for many people it's like that, even people who come here, they can come when they have time. When they're busy in other things, this is less important for them. And I'm not talking whether they physically come or not. They're just engaged in more things, they give value more. And when they don't, now they're like, okay, now I'll examine my thoughts. Okay, now I will sit in meditation. We are pointing that inquiry into the self. It has nothing to do with the position of the physical body. Yeah? It has to be questioning the thoughts to see if the thoughts are real. And that's a stage, because if you stay only on the thoughts, then you remain only intellectual. And the knowing of yourself, which is prior to a thought, is not an intellectual. It is a sense-felt experience. And in that sense-felt experience, there is the knowingness of who you are. And the more you stay with the knowingness of who you are, this sense-felt experience intensifies. It is infinite. It has no end. So one has to fix the attention, and all the habits would come into the surface to play themselves out. And the whole world will test you how strong you are to follow it or to abandon it, not to get attached to the thoughts. So the wise point that you cannot continue being attached and fix the attention on awareness. And it has nothing to do with objects. Attachment is only to another thought. A thought can only get attached to another thought. A thought can never get attached to an object. So if there is an attachment to a thought, there gotta be an I there that thinks and believes that it is a real entity. That I has to be examined if it is me. Is this who I really am? Or I am that I, which is a prior to the thought I. And then he continues, you may be doing something that doesn't hold your interest or attention, so you think I will do some self-inquiry instead. That's pointing that when a thought holds your attention, means there is an I that is interested. You have to question that. Yeah, if something holds the attention, who is putting the attention other than the thought I? No one. So he said, you think I will do some self-inquiry instead. If the thoughts don't hold your attention, or you're not in a story, or if you're not making a drama, or you're not attached to something that you think is the most important for you right now, although I ask myself, or I ask people, if it would be your last moments of your life, how meaning is your story right now? How important what you think you have to do? Everybody says it's meaningless. No matter what you say, wow, this is really important, I have to resolve it. Yes, this is going to be your last moments of your life. Are you going to bother even to resolve anything? Is there anything to resolve other than an idea you're holding in your mind? Other than a story you're making, the mind is telling itself. Okay? That's always a good way to check, okay, this is really important, I have to deal with that. Is it? If I would be aware that these are the 5 moments of my life, what would I put the attention on? That which is never born or die, or that which imagines that it is going to die in the future? Am I going to just stop identifying with something that it's not even me and return the attention back into my true self? Or am I going to be mesmerized by something that is a ghost, a mirage, a phantom? And he continues, he says, this is never going to work. You may go 2 steps forward when you practice, but you go 5 steps backward when you stop your practice and go back to your worldly affairs. There is no forward and backwards. What I see it is pointing is that you bring the mind back, and you might even have glimpses of who you are. Yet when the thought appears again, the I thought is already ignorance, is forgetting who you are. So the moment there's forgetfulness and you allow it to evolve to the next thought, it's gone. And then it's so easy to be trapped in the my projections, my ideas, my beliefs, my concepts, because this is what the conditioning is. This is what the habit, this is what they call the vasanas, latent habits. They are old habits that we fed in the mind by thinking that I am the thinker, that I am my thoughts, that this is me. So this is how, so quickly, when I identify back with the thought, I would look for the truth in the thoughts. And when I look for the truth in the thoughts, means I get attached to them. And as I get attached to them, they only go one direction. They continue, evolve, and grow. Ignorance always grows. It never stops by itself. And when it stops by itself, unknowingly, there's no recognition that I am prior to that. There's not enough the knowing, because it happened unconsciously, almost like in deep sleep. And that's what I see it is pointing, is if one doesn't stay around the subject, and if we look, the ones that were around the subject, they were daily around it, and every moment were posing the questions internally, around, they were questioning themselves. Because if they didn't, they identify with that, means they thought they are the one who's thinking the thought looked like they are real, and once they looked to be real, then two things happen. I get attached to them and react to them, and that validates their reality, although they are illusory, non-existent. Okay? So this is why it's, if I don't put the attention and question and rest as awareness, then I go into the illusion. And I think the illusion gonna bring me something. So what happens, people can stay around the subject and even have glimpses of who they are, because the I thought haven't dissolved once and for all, for completely. The moment it appears, it creates the whole universe again. And then before you realize it, you're already busy in the illusion. Thinking this is where you're gonna find, this is gonna be your refuge. You must have a lifelong commitment to establish yourself in the self. Means, what I see here, no matter what it takes, no matter, so I didn't succeed, the mind that is immature says, no, I give up. They are not ready. They don't understand. So they didn't succeed, I start again. Didn't succeed, I start again. I don't even dwell on not succeeding, because not succeeding means I have an idea how things are supposed to be. I have to question, who is the one who is having the idea? Am I an idea? And if you already have a glimpse of who you are, you recognize that you are not a thought, that you are not an idea. You're much greater, vaster than that. Lifelong commitment. You must have a lifelong commitment to establish yourself in the self. And people who were exposed to the knowledge and do some work, you have to see how they live their life. If they are running around too much chasing the thoughts about the objects of the world and putting so much energy, and then they hear, okay, there is a retreat. Oh, Alon is coming. Let's spend some time. They are just looking for relaxation. They are just looking for a break of the insanity they live, chasing a dream. They are really not mature enough. If they will recognize it, that immaturity will get weaker. If they don't acknowledge it, that immaturity would keep running, pull them into the dream. Yeah? So one can say, hear this word and say, wow, I'm discouraged. Forget that. Why even bother? Another would say, okay, I understand, yet every moment I'll do the best I can. I'll put all the effort I can. I don't have another opportunity. I got the most important object already. It's the body. It's through the body I can wake up to that which is beyond, and I can cut the false identification with the body while the body is alive. I have to do that. So I got the most important object. Now I neglect that object. I go and try to chase thoughts about many other objects, thinking they're going to save me. And eventually, all of it will be lost. I'm going to read another story here that he speaks about it that is very nice. So we just finished this part. You must have a lifelong commitment to establish yourself in the self. Your determination to succeed must be strong and firm. And it should manifest as continuous, not a part-time effort. So here he points lifelong commitment to establish yourself in the self. So at least the mind has the clarity. It's not a quick fix, a bang, and that's it. Yes? And the other is that determination to succeed must be strong and firm. We have to look at what does it mean, determination, strong and firm. Determination that it's strong, it doesn't matter what happens. You determine and you're firm to start again until you succeed. And obviously we have to understand that the mind cannot succeed, wake up to who I am. Yet when it questions itself, it rests within who I am. Yeah? So the mind cannot gain awareness. It can only dissolve within awareness. Yet it has to have the determination not to follow its thoughts, to see the defects of the thoughts, to be earnest enough to question it every moment, and when awareness shines through, hold the attention on that which is myself continuously. I'll go for a moment to the, unless you would like to share something, either one of you.
Me. I want to share about this, the stops. I think that now the stops became a good habit because now I like to stop. But I don't know how it became a bad habit because I'm watching now the watch. I'm looking the watch and say, I'm looking the hours and okay, there's 9 points and 9 became stop. And then, well, I do things and watch again and the 10 o'clock and became to stop. So I don't know if this is good or the mind is playing with the time. That's my first sharing, no? But then when I stop, I 5 minutes and I like it, and I am not looking at the time of the 5 minutes. I leave and then became like 7 minutes, maybe 4, but that's now happening, huh? And sorry.
1 second, few things. The first trap is that who is the one who likes it? Is it really you? Or it's the ego now is He likes it because either it's accomplishing a task, yeah, it's in his resume, yeah, how the ego does. Okay, this is what I accomplished in my life. This, and now he does it on the daily. Here, my accomplishment. I said 1, I said 2, I said 3. I'm so great. Look, I achieved that, and I feel good. So first of all, we have to recognize, you have to question who is the I that feels good. Yeah? It either likes a particular idea or it likes a particular experience. So first of all, we have to acknowledge from experience that experiences and thoughts are passing through, constantly changing. And the habit, don't focus on even forming a new habit. You're neither a habit nor the one who's forming it. You are the background of awareness. Yes? Not a habit. Awareness is not a habit. So good habit can change to bad habit. And bad habit can change to good habit. And if you identify with the one who's thinking it has a good habit, it's just a matter of time that the good habit will change back to bad habit. It will alternate back. No problem for the I. It is moving from good to bad, bad to good, right to wrong, wrong to right. It's not permanent. So just observe that it's irrelevant what you think about the stopping. It's like people say, it's like I stop with Inbal. We stopping too. I don't give any significance to what appears and disappears. It's irrelevant to what experiences that come and go. In life too, same. It's not interesting, the thoughts. Be interested, questioning the thoughts so you can see through, and be interested on that which never moves. Not in the sequence of events that come and go. On that which is always aware only to itself. Develop that interest only. And from that interest, then the inquiry gets deeper, or the melting into awareness is more and more, losing the false identity. Okay? Also, the mind can be very arrogant very quickly. It practices one moment of practice, it already claims it has a new habit. So, yeah, it's like I have people here practice. One guy said, yeah, it's really good for me. I stop 8 times and I sit 20 minutes and it's really good. And I really understand the practice. He's practicing 2 days. 2 days? You came for this conclusion? How do you know? This is also going to change. I assure that anything that comes and goes gonna change because it's in constant movement, constant movement. There's only one thing that is stable. It's your true nature. All the rest is unstable, shaky, cannot trust it, cannot rely on it. And if you think you have it, you're gonna lose it. Because anything I think I gain, I'm gonna lose. Anything I think is mine, gonna be lost. So I cannot rely on it. Okay, so that's what came for me, just so you can see that the mind would not go into, I call it, into hallucination. Just, okay, forming new ideas, that's its habit anyhow. The habit, the nature of the mind in the non-dual hit points is to recollect ideas and latencies. means to form new ideas. From one idea, it forms another one, and another one, and another one, and habits form from that. So only inquiry into the self, it doesn't form a habit. It keeps inquiring, and when the inquiry ends, what remains is awareness, which is not a habit. It's just, I think we talked about it. This is knowledge. Inquiry, when you question the mind and you inquire into your true nature, it's like fire. It burns all the weeds. And when the weeds are burnt, the fire is gone. So it extinguishes itself. The stopping that we do physically, it can create a bigger separate entity, because I am doing the stopping, right? I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's say if I would do 30 and somebody will do only 5, so I'm better than them because I stopped more times. So I still thinking that I am the one who's doing these things, right? Yet if you inquire into that one that think this arrogance in the mind, when the inquiry goes in and the inquiry reveals that the one who's thinking it is not you, that the one who's thinking that it is stopping is just another idea thinking that it is a physical body, and that when you inquire and you remain as yourself, then it's obvious to you that you are not a thought, that you are not a separate entity. Yes? And this is how the illusion, this is the difference between stopping, which a practice can lead to inflate the ego, or even the stillness 1 hour. People say, I didn't move the whole hour. This is great. So I accomplished. I gained. Means I had an idea. Whether it was mine or I borrowed it from somebody else, it's the same. I borrowed that idea, and then if I succeed following the idea I have in my mind, I'm so great. Inquiry into the self doesn't work that way. And the mind, even if it hates the practice, it loves the practice. The more challenging it is, the more it is like a task the mind wants to accomplish. Yet inquiry, the mind cannot accomplish anything. The whole work is in reverse into yourself. When the thought disappears, what did the mind accomplish? Nada. That's where a lot of practices inflate the ego. They inflate a spiritual ego. Just like somebody in the material world would say, look, I have many houses, many objects. Look, I am the king of this whole planet. I am the ruler. I'm so great. Somebody in the spiritual path would say, look how great I am. I'm sitting 10 hours. I sleep 2 hours. I examine every moment the thought. Look how great. I am doing all these things. I am a great spiritual, I'm a great meditator. Look how great I am. Basically, it objectified, numbered what it can do. That's what the ego does. Awareness cannot be objectified. For the ego, which is non-existent, has to be dissolving into awareness. So ego can never gain awareness, ever, ever. That brings the ability clearly to discriminate and not get lost in an idea. So some wise would say, okay, it's easy for you, great. Stop when you don't want to. Stop more frequently when you have a thought that you got to do something. Now stop. Don't move. Be interested in the reactivity. See or question that. Okay? So there's another approach. I'm not suggesting it. I'm not saying make it more challenging. It just, one has to see where something is not done inside them. And then also one can say, okay, I hear it's a new habit. So sustain this habit for the next 10 years. Sustain 10 years. Then after 10 years, we talk. See, this is what the wise point. There was a man that started the Aikido. His premise is only after you practice 10 years. Now you start to grasp. Now you start to understand. And I think 10 years is a good length for someone who is immersed in what they are really yearning. Even for this, it's not about time of 10 years. It's a lifelong commitment, yes, until the body drops. And there was another master in China. And in his video, I'll see if I can find it, people would come to practice Qigong or Tai Chi. He said, only when you come here for 3 years in 5 o'clock in the morning, then I'll know that you're serious. Means he was giving them 3 years to show him first, yet afterwards for themselves that they're really serious. And if we look at this, there is wisdom inside. There is a wisdom inside that you are actually building your, how he said, your determination to succeed must be strong and firm, no matter what happens, no matter what you face in that day, that moment, that hour. I see this attitude is necessary. Most people are not up to that. There are other things, they're too busy. They have to achieve too many things that are useless. Maybe people don't like to hear it, except anything other than realizing who you are is useless. It's nonsense. It's if I'll gain everything and know everything, and I do not know myself fully and identify as myself, just like I identify when I'm ignorant, I am a physical body. It's like if I have one thought and I still identify with that, and I think I am a separate entity, it's not done. It's not complete. So, yeah, this is just to remind the mind if the mind is truly has the understanding what it takes for it to reverse the direction, which is returning back, resting within awareness itself. You'd like to share anything more, Anna?
Well, I was in the market, and in the moment that I will pay, and I stop, waiting, and then begins a lot of thoughts of fear because I feel sick. I begins to feel sick, and then and feel body sensations from faint, sweating, and I was thinking I'm going to faint, I'm going to die right now, became feel really bad. So I say I discriminate oil. In that moment I say, but I am not the body, I am not the mind, I'm not the fear. My own, uh, my own, me, o sea, the me, the conscience, is not body, is not fear. So when I understand that I am not the body and I'm not the emotions, everything stop. All the fear stop, and then um, serene, and became free. So I understand that all that, that you read something before about the thoughts, and that was an example that I understand that if that I am awareness. So awareness is not fear. It's just awareness. It's eternity. So um, that's I want to share.
Very nice. Very good. Because the
I
more,
don't. I explain. Yes.
yes, the more you have the understanding and then have the experience, the knowing, then the understanding about that which cannot be understood at least grows. So there's a firm conviction, and the determination grows to fix more and more the attention on that which is aware and not thoughts at all.
Los pensan en otro momento, in other moments, estos pensamientos me hubieran hecho daño. Pero ahora, o sea, no existen. Entonces, no me produjeron ahora daño. Fui libre.
That's good. It's just that we have to see that the thoughts, it has to be seen in the moment, because otherwise it grabs my attention and I think it's real. It's like, and I would, future doesn't really exist. The thought creates the illusion of future because of memory of the past. So I have to see the illusion in that instant. Whether it reveals or not, it's not up to me. Yet the more I question, the more I see. We can, I'll read one story yeah, about the body is the most important object we already have, yet just don't make a mistake that now you get attached to the thoughts about the body because of the idea that it is the most important object. Yeah, it's reverse it. The ego does it. Say, oh, I need the body now. Before, when I identified with the body as a separate entity, also the ego said, now I need the body because I want to live. Now the ego will come and say, I need the body because I have to get detached from identifying with the body. So, no, no, no. As long as the body, then the body is here a vehicle for you to see if there's identification that I am a separate entity. I am a physical body. Yeah? That's all. So everybody got the most important object, and doesn't mean that now they start getting attached to it, because they're already attached to it. It's just to question who is that one who is attached to the body. Is this I the body? And last time we read that the body doesn't ask the I thought whether to be born or die, and the body doesn't ask the I thought whether it's okay for the body to feel bad or good, be sick, be healthy. It doesn't ask that I thought at all. That's a proof that the body and the I thought that thinks it is the body are not the same. They're not synonymous. They're not the same. They're different entities. Yeah. Just that we have to realize how we already got on the physical everything we need. On the mental, the mind has to wake up and wakes itself out from the dream, just like from dreaming state to waking state. And then once it wakes itself out of the dream, rest within awareness, which is not a dream. It's the ultimate reality, which is everyone's nature, your true nature. So we look, let's see about the story. Here also Annamalai Swami talks about, though the body is needed for inquiry into the self, one should not identify with that. We should make good use of it and look after it well, but we should not pay too much attention to it. The story about the objects of the world. He says, today I'm going to tell you a story I once heard. A rich man lived in a village. From his youth till his old age, he had spent all his time accumulating wealth. He owned many houses and vast tracts of land. As his material wealth increased, his ego expanded with it. He enjoyed boasting about his wealth. One day, as he was sitting in front of his house with a stick in his hand, a poor man who was known to be a little stupid passed by. "Why are you holding that stick in your hand?" he asked. The rich man decided to have some fun with him. "It's a special stick," he replied. "It has to be given to an idiot. This stick is passed from person to person, and each person who receives it must pass it on to someone who is more stupid than he is. Giving him the stick, he continued, "Now it is your turn to own it. You must keep it with you until you find someone who is even bigger idiot than you." The poor man humbly accepted the stick and began his quest to find someone whom he felt had even less intelligence than he did. Since he was by a long way the least intelligent person in the village, he could not find anyone to give the stick to. A few weeks later he heard that the rich man was sick and dying. He went to visit him, partly to pay his last respects, and partly to tell him that he hadn't managed to find anyone to give the stick to. He took his custody of the stick very seriously, and he wanted advice from the rich man on what he should do with it. After some preliminary conversation about the rich man's health and the fate of the stick, the poor man asked the rich man what was going to happen to all his money when he died. "I have to leave all my money here," he answered the rich man. "I don't know where and when I shall be reborn, but I do know that I can't take any of my money with me. I shall have to start off with nothing again." He relapsed into a glum silence, not realizing the prospect of being parted from his money. The poor man, who had never really considered this aspect of dying before, thought about it for a while and then came to a conclusion. "You must have the stick," he said, handing it back to him, "because I have suddenly realized that you are an even bigger idiot than I am. Though you have had a long life and many opportunities, you have accumulated nothing of value that you can carry forward with you. You have no peace of mind because you are worried about losing your money, and you have accumulated no good karma because you have spent your whole life pursuing selfish ends. In a few days, the piles of money you have amassed will have the same value for you as piles of garbage. This money will have no value for you in your next life. By devoting your entire life to the accumulation of things that will ultimately prove to be of no use, you have demonstrated that you are a worthy recipient of the stick." He placed the stick on the rich man's bed and left. That's the story. And the mind thinks it has time, that it will do the work later in the future. It just imagines and creates a future that doesn't exist. When the mind goes to the future, it actually goes to the past. It never goes to a future because there isn't such a thing. It only goes to the past memory, and it labels it future. So that's the story to remind all of us. Where are we putting the attention? And the efforts we put, where are we putting it on? Are we putting it to something that would be of no use and value? Or are we putting it into that which is real, eternal, real peace, real happiness, liberation? And I don't suggest anything other than just really look within and being aware. I don't suggest people stop what you do, don't don't go to work, I don't suggest that. You just, how much attention are you putting in and how your life looks like? Does it give you even time to put your attention in? And when you have time, do you put your attention in? Or you still occupied to distract yourself on irrelevant things or actions? That's all. It just to each one, the more honest one they are with themselves, looking within, they can easier and sooner come out of the illusion or the delusion that the mind is telling themselves. And the mind is just a storyteller. That's what it does. It doesn't know anything other than that. If you have anything to share, you're more than welcome. And we can stop actually afterwards.
Me, a little, I forget something about the story in the supermarket and about the reality. Because in the thought that I am going to die, I'm going to faint lonely here, was a moment that I accept that, okay, you have to die right now. If you're going to faint, okay. And that's, when I accept that moment, I feel good. No? Yes, that.
It's a cultivate the attitude of being fearless. Means you being fearless regarding the fear, about the fear. You approach the fear with fearlessness.
Yes, all the time I was fighting with that fear when I feel the sensation of faint, and I say, okay, it will happen, happen. And I see, no, disappear, and I then begins our thoughts, and I discriminate. No?
Very good.
Thank you.
Elisa, you have anything else for you from today?
Well, just that I don't know. I have identified the this thought. This it helps a lot when you share with us how does the mind works and which are the tricks of the mind, because when it's happening, I can identify it. Because I knew that it was the mind, the one that it was the mind that the one that doesn't wanted to do the work or to, but somehow I understand that.
Yes. Somebody is trying to call here. Let's see if I can. Okay. That's good. That's good.
And only that it feels sometimes like, yes, like disappointing seeing how you are following it, but also it's like I don't know, like observe that and 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 at least when I stop, I spend most of the time like watching, and something weird happened, like there are a lot of movement, and but there are no things that I can clearly see, you know. So I then I start to question, but it requires an effort, you know. It's not like easy that I saw that and I question it. No, it's like I see movement, like I am waiting for a thought to appear, but it's like, so I better start questioning.
Yeah. If you don't see clearly the thoughts, then start to question or concentrate, so suddenly you would notice the thoughts, and that way it will be more clear. And disappointment, that means that somewhere in the habit is to wanting to gain something. Gaining is either getting rid of a particular thoughts the mind doesn't like, or sensation the mind doesn't like, or gaining something it desires and likes. So either way, and it's good to see. And when it's challenged, it can inspire you to see, okay, lost in a dream, good, this is what it is, I just saw it, so it's finished. And that's, you check if once you catch the mind dream, if there's a thought, wait until the thought appears. In the gap, you remain.
Okay.
Wonderful. So we'll stop for now. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With hacemos otra cita, a point
Saturday?
for another day.
Yes, one moment. One moment.
Definitely.